Hi, I'm Mike Ryan. In our ongoing series of the famous turquoise mines, we spent a lot of time looking at the mines of Nevada and Arizona. And there's good reason for that. There's a lot of beautiful turquoise that came out of those two states. Nevada has many turquoise mines. And the Arizona mines had huge production coming out of the copper mines at Bisbee, Morenci, Sleeping Beauty, and Kingman. But you know, we really shouldn't forget about the famous mines of Colorado. And while there are 4 major turquoise producing areas in Colorado, there's really only 2 that we would consider famous, and those are Villa Grove and King Manassa. During the period of the Great American Turquoise Rush, 1890 to 1910, that we cover in part 1 of Turquoise in America, the only turquoise that was desired by the East Coast jewelers making Victorian jewelry was the sky blue non-matrix. And that just was not coming out of production in Colorado. So while there was early production at King Manassa, it really wasn't going to be popular in the marketplace until we come into the period covered in part 2. Now that long history is covered in detail in part 2 because we were fortunate to have Bill King telling us the stories that he heard from his grandfather and his father. But basically, King Manassa is known for the production of the blue that came out when Pete King was doing tunnel mining in the 1930s, and then more so during the 1980s when Bill King was opening up the claim, opening up the mine with open pit mining, and really brought out a lot of the green turquoise that most of us associate with King Manassa. Now I say King Manassa and not King's Manassa, as it is sometimes said, because it's not the Manassa turquoise mine, it is the King turquoise mine located near Manassa, Colorado. When we were out there on the mine, Bill King was giving a tour, and you can see that on one of our other video entries here on the blog. And he told me a little story I want to share with you. I thought it was kind of cute. And it is telling in that turquoise mining is difficult, and a lot of days you go out and you don't find any turquoise. But one of the favorite beverages of the miners out there was Mountain Dew. And one day Bill said somebody found a Mountain Dew can, and Bill looked at him and said, "That's the only green you're going to see today." Well, fortunately, we have some beautiful King Manassa turquoise that we're going to look at. But let's talk a little bit about Villa Grove. Villa Grove was really first developed in the 1930s by A.J. Hall. And once again, we tell the whole history of that Villa Grove turquoise mine in Turquoise in America Part 2, 1910 to 1990. It's probably best known for the development by Mindless Winfield during the 1950s and 1960s. And while it never had a lot of production, it was known for really vivid blue colors and being very hard turquoise, but very thin. Did not come out in big nuggets. So we see lots of smaller pieces of the Villa Grove turquoise. So with that, let's take a look at some King Manassa and Villa Grove turquoise. In this tray, we are looking at a range of examples of turquoise from King Manassa. And as I mentioned, during the earlier period of production, primarily by Pete King, Bill King's father, the market was looking for the blues. And we see here a series of blue cabs that are demonstrating the type of blue, especially this one, such a deep blue saturated with the very traditional light brown. I believe that would be considered a rhyolite. And then we have a lighter blue here. We also have the greens. Here we see a greens with a little bit of polychrome involved. Going across, we have another green and blue polychrome here. Another polychrome here with a very light pale green. But down here we're seeing some more of the vivid greens that again are often associated with King Manassa turquoise. Here we see on this nice big large cab, I think a very, very special cab because of the beautiful blue that has a little hint of green in it, but then floating over this very traditional matrix for King Manassa. Then we see some kind of hybrid cabs here. Green, here's a little ribbon cab with the green going through it. And then down here we're seeing these sort of combination blue, green, turquoise. This one doesn't come through very well in the video, but it is really deeply saturated blue-green. Very, very beautiful stone. So we see this range of turquoise from King Manassa. In this small tray, we see some examples of Villa Grove. Now, these stones all came courtesy of Winfield Trading Company, which is in Vanderwagen, New Mexico, and it came from the personal collection of Manassa Winfield. So you can't really get more confident in provenance than that. So we're seeing here, and we're seeing some examples of the color that is associated with the Villa Grove, especially in this nice big cab. These are very thin pieces, came in a very, very thin vein within the nugget. Well, these were primarily coming out as nuggets, but they were always very small nuggets. And that story is told by Manassa Winfield's wife in a letter to her daughter that you can read in Turquoise in America, Part 2. These very beautiful little small cabs of Villa Grove turquoise, and we can see in this one, we see some of the pyrite. So we do know that there is pyrite associated with Villa Grove turquoise. So again, we've learned a little bit about the history of famous turquoise mines of Colorado and seen some beautiful turquoise from King Manassa and Villa Grove.